Alright everyone, I'm here to give you a video. And this looks like to be a pretty good video. It's a DVD review. I don't remember the last time I did a DVD review. I think the last DVD review I did, I believe, was the Ultimate Warrior DVD. Could be wrong there though. I have to go through my playlist and check it out. I don't really do DVD reviews that often because normally it takes a while to watch a wrestling DVD for me. But this one wasn't long at all, and I had the time, so I figured I'd review it. So let's get into it. So the DVD review, I got this is gonna be this DVD. You can read it now, you know, because it's not backwards anymore. But I'll still read it. It's called Steve Austin, Cactus Jack, The Early Years. It's the classic superstars of wrestling: Steve Austin, Cactus Jack, The Early Years. I only reviewed the Steve Austin. I only watched the Steve Austin portion of it though. And normally what I do is when so I only watch that, so that's the only review you're gonna get. But normally what I do is when I review a DVD, I like to show everyone what it looks like. So that's the front. Here's this side. It shows the DVDs. The back. I'll just read the Steve Austin stuff. He rose to the top of wrestling's success mountain as fast as the speed of light, but in the early days of his career, there was a different look to go with the same brutal style. Steve Austin, as you have never seen him before. The long, blonde-haired and colorful ring attire would camouflage, I think that says the man we know today, as one of the sport's toughest. And then it says it's about 56 minutes. Actually, I didn't think it was that long. That was longer than that. It's not even an hour. And they talk about and then they list the matches down below, which I will talk about. So then that's the back. I'll show you the back now. And then here's the side. It's just this stuff. And then that's that. And now I'll show you the actual DVD itself of the Steve Austin. Here's Steve Austin. You already saw that part. You saw this part. You didn't see the back this time. It says 6 crushing matches. There's only 6 matches. And then it shows this part. So let's talk about this. Let me just put this back because I actually took the notes off my phone, which I gotta find. This is what you call lack of preparation, people. Where did I put that phone? Did I keep it plugged into the headphones? Nope. Oh, where did I put my phone? It's kind of tough. I don't remember where I put it. There it is. Alright. So, another thing I should have mentioned is this DVD actually came out in 2002, and you can totally tell because on the when the people were hosting it, I'll just go through that right now. Actually, the hosts were Tony Atlas, which was nice to see him, and Brian Webster. Never heard of that guy in my life. I think he might have been the commentator for some of Stone Cold Steve Austin's matches, but I don't know. Because this was the early years, I mentioned, of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Pretty much the face of the Attitude Era, and you got to see him, what he was like before that. Now, at first, when I saw this DVD, I thought they were going to show like his ECW days, his WCW days. But no, they went even earlier than that, and I'm going to get to that in a second. So it starts out, what was I going to say? Oh, so it starts out by showing the introduction about the early years of wrestlers and a bunch of wrestlers wrestling, and it does like this big intro. I thought it was okay. But yeah, you can totally tell it came out in 2002 because the monitors look old. They had the old laptops. And I thought it was brought me back to my childhood because I was a kid when I was actually a kid in 2002. So thought this brought me back to my childhood. But yeah, I thought it was good stuff. And they talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin's career, and they go through his career. And the first match we see is Steven Williams. That used to be Stone Cold Steve Austin's name. It was actually Steven Williams. I didn't know that, but he used to be named Steven Williams. And he went against his opponent, The Punisher. And The Punisher was actually The Undertaker, which I thought was awesome. You know, these two wrestled before because this wasn't in WCW, ECW, or WWF. This was in a company called USWA, which stands for United States of Wrestling, or something like that. And I thought that was awesome. So we got that was the first match. There was Steven Williams versus The Punisher. I think this was Steven Williams' debut too. And the Punisher actually had a manager with Skandor Akbar. I think that's how you say that name. And the Punisher wore a mask, which was awesome, and he had a ponytail. I thought that was good stuff. And Skandor Akbar if you can probably look him up. I can't really describe what he was in. He was in something else. The match was a squash match, pretty much. The Punisher squashed Steven Williams, and yeah, he hit a flying clothesline and then a leg drop on Steven Williams for the win. It was a squash match. I was shocked, I'll admit that. I didn't think this would be a squash match. I actually thought it was going to be a good match, but no, it was a squash match. So Stone Cold Steve Austin's first match ever was a squash match. And they did say that he had hair. He did have hair in this, so Stone Cold Steve Austin looked nothing like himself now than he did back then. You know, so if you saw Stone Cold Steve Austin now and back then in one picture, you would be like, I can't believe this was Stone Cold Steve Austin. So then Tony Atlas and Brian Webster talked about how now you guys know that Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Undertaker wrestled before they went into the WWF. And Tony Atlas talked about how you have to make a name for yourself before you go into the big leagues. You need to wrestle on a bunch of these small independent wrestling shows, wrestling companies, and then make your name up that way. So we got the next match. It was Steven Williams versus Chris Youngblood, and they called Chris Youngblood the Medicine Man. And they made note to mention that Chris Addams was on commentary, and Chris Addams was Stone Cold Steve Austin's mentor. He was his mentor, but you know, in wrestling, he is his trainer, his mentor, everything. So yeah, I thought that was good stuff. So it starts out. This match was okay. I actually got into it a little bit. Steven Williams was still kind of, you know, new. It was only 6 months in, and you can probably watch the match, and Steven Williams goes for a drop kick, and the Medicine Man goes off the top rope and does like a jumps on him and does like and puts his ass on Steven Williams and gets the win. So he lost there too. It wasn't a squash this time though. It was a legit wrestling match. It was actually a pretty good back and forth match. There was some good stuff in this match, but it was just kind of like it was just a good match. And I thought it was good. So Stone Cold Steve Austin didn't have a good start in wrestling so far. And then they talked about too how he's not having a good start. Tony Atlas says you gotta really get hard work and appreciation. You need to it's not all fun and games at first. It's not as easy as you think it is. So I thought that was awesome. So then we got the next match. Now he's named Steve Austin. So now they changed his name and he's going up against Chris Addams, his mentor, his protege, his his trainer. And he figured it would be best for the student to beat the teacher. And Steve Austin had just turned heel. And it was an okay match. Scandal Akbar came out to watch the match. And they went at it. And it distracted Chris Adams for a little while. Was Steve Austin was able to attack him. And eventually, the referee, when Chris Adams body slams Steve Austin, and the referee takes a bump, and then Chris Adams goes off the top rope, and Akbar pulls him down. And earlier in the match, Akbar put something in Steve Austin's pants, and he put brass knuckles in him, and he was going to use them on him, but he countered into a back suplex, I believe. And Chris Adams grabs the knucks, and he hits Steve Austin with them and gets himself disqualified. So Steve Austin won there, and then he goes after him afterwards. He continues to attack him with them, and then he goes after them with the chair. So I thought it was decent stuff. And then afterwards, we got the 8-man tag team match. The host didn't really, Tony Atlas and Chris. No, Tony Atlas and Brian Webster didn't really say anything like important that is memorable. And they didn't really say he was in the match. And but I can name some people that were in it. On one team, the only person I knew was Steve Austin. The other team, I knew Chris Addams. I think he was in that match. Jeff Jarrett, which it was kind of cool. And Paul Bearer, or back then he was known as Percy Pringle. I didn't know he was a wrestler back then, but and this is all the same company too. All these matches, I didn't know Percy Pringle or Paul Bearer ever wrestled. I thought he was always a manager, but no, he wrestled too. And this match was weird. So what happens is if somebody got pinned in this match, the other team would get to choose like one member of the losing team to pretty much gain up on him. It would be like they could all come in the ring and gain up on this guy for like a minute, and if the guy couldn't get back to his feet, they would lose the match. So it was like a last man stand. They called it like an 8 guys tough guy match, and it was unique. I've never seen something like that before, so I thought it was fine. What happens here is one of the guys gets pinned right off the bat, so they just pretty much attack one of the guys for a while, for a minute. They beat the crap out of him, and he gets up, and then the heels, Steve Austin's team dominates, I believe, Percy Pringle for a while, and then eventually chaos breaks ensued, and one of them illegally hits Percy Pringle. He gets pinned, and they all gain up on Jeff Jarrett. And then the other guy gets pinned. Afterwards, they were supposed to leave actually after Jeff Jarrett goes up, and everyone just starts coming into the ring again. And somebody gets rolled up for the win, and like the leader of the team gets gained up on, and it leads to, and it didn't really work out that well because everyone just came in anyways. And then the leader of the heel team gets hit with a chair, and he can't get back up, so the face team wins. Chris Addams, Percy Pringle, and Jeff Jarrett and the other guy. Sorry, that match review wasn't very good, but I didn't know, they didn't really say most of the people that were in it, so, but Steve Austin still didn't really get the break he wanted, I guess. So now we have now they talk about too how this match isn't over, that you could see several matches between people. That's what Tony Atlas said. He's wrestled people several times before. So then we got Steve Austin with Ginny versus Chris Addams with Tony Addams, his wife. This the women start fighting, and it leads to somebody coming out. I believe, I don't know who it was. I think it was like the GM or something, and they say that they have to leave, or else Chris Addams and Steve Austin will be banned from the USWA. And they do. Tony didn't want to leave. Then afterwards, they have the match, and it was a pretty fine match. And then Chris Addams wins by a clothesline off the top turnbuckle for the win. I actually expected Steve Austin to win that match, but no. Then Ginny came back out before that, and after the match, she threw a chair in. Chris Adams caught it, and at first I thought this was going to lead to Chris Adams just hitting Steve Austin with the chair, but Steve Austin attacked him from behind and started hitting him with the chair. And then Tony came back out with the kendo stick, which was awesome, and she starts beating Ginny down with the kendo stick. Eventually, Steve Austin grabs hold of Tony, and Ginny just beats the crap out of Tony with the kendo stick. I thought it was awesome stuff. I thought that was okay. And then we got Steve Austin and Ginny versus the Addams family. See what I did there? It was actually meant to be a cheesy line. It really wasn't, too, because it actually was the Addams family. Chris Addams and Ginny Addams. Not Ginny, and Tony Addams. And it was okay. Most of the match is really Steve Austin versus Chris Addams. Steve Austin hits a sleeper hold. They both keep doing sleeper holds to each other. They both keep attacking each other. Eventually, Chris Adams ties Ginny up into the ropes, and Tony beats the crap out of her in the ropes. And eventually, the match breaks down. Ginny and Tony are fighting on the announce table, and Percy Pringle, who was doing commentary, gets hit by Tony by accident, and he takes offense to that, and he holds back Tony's arms while she attacks, while Ginny attacks her. And then Chris Von Erich came out and attacked Percy Pringle. And Chris Adams was tied up in the ropes too, I forgot to mention that. And then Steve Austin came and attacked Chris Von Erich. And Jeff Jarrett came out and attacked Steve Austin. And the Iceman, I forget what his real name was, came out and attacked Jeff Jarrett. Eventually, Chris Adams gets loose from the ropes, and he grabs a chair and starts going off on people, and that's how it ended. This is how the whole DVD ended, and I thought the DVD was okay. It definitely isn't the best DVD I've ever seen, but it was nice to see, I guess, where Stone Cold Steve Austin really started his career, and it was cool. You know, he went into the USWA. That's the only shown matches from that company. And I thought it was cool. He didn't really get a good start, really, with in that company. He didn't really get a good start, though, unless they just showed the matches where he, lost in. I kind of wish they could have shown some matches where he won. But they didn't. I think he lost every match but one match, and he never got, a pinfall in any of the other matches he was in, so that would be my complaint. I kind of wish they could have made him look a little bit stronger in this DVD. But it was good stuff. It was nice to see what The Undertaker did before that, but I thought this DVD was okay. And that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this DVD review. I know it's not the best DVD review, but it wasn't very long. And I'll be back at some point to do a DVD review. I just get so busy nowadays that I don't have time to really review DVDs. But in the playlist, you can check out my other DVD reviews. I don't remember what ones I have reviewed. But I know which ones I have, and I know which ones I haven't, and I will try to do as many DVD reviews as I can. And check out my new schedule for this channel now. That you can check out my schedule from now on video on this channel. And I hope you guys subscribe to all the stuff down below, and I'll see you. Well, I'll be back on the channel probably tomorrow at some point.